Hello there, Karin here on behalf of Makers Mercantile with the top 5 things to look for in today's newsletter. Item number 1, Kinky Yarn. Now you're probably wondering, why is this yarn in a coil and why is it already knitted? Well, let me tell you, there is a reason. We at Makers Mercantile actually designed this yarn to make dyeing easy. It's like your beginner's dye kit, I guess. The yarn is actually already knit in a tube that is 12 stitches, as you can see here. That's 12 stitch tube. And then it's put into a coil. And the reason we do this is because there's so many different methods of dyeing that you can use that will go so much quicker if it's done with it all put together in this form. For instance, we have a special paint, well, it's a paint, it's a dye, it's called Fashion Spray. And Fashion Spray, there's a gold color, it comes in metallics too, is actually perfect for this yarn, as you can take it directly from the bottle, spray paint one side, spray paint the other side, set it aside to dry for like 2 to 3 hours, heat set it by using an iron. That's going to take you about 10 minutes total, and then you can actually knit it right away. Now this one here has green on one side, blue on one side, and this is what your finished piece would actually look like. It has green and blue specks when you knit it. Pretty cool, huh? And since you're knitting it directly off of the tube, it's kinky, and that's why we call it kinky yarn. Now, if you don't want to knit directly off the tube, you don't have to. You can actually just wind it into a ball and then knit off of that if that makes life easier for you. But whatever you do, it's a really great, fun project to start with. We also have a little, more complex projects. If you want to use our wool tinctures, these are really great tea bags filled with dye to make it easy. There's no measuring or anything. You just put it in a pot of warm water, instructions are included, and you can create your own dye. You can make this looks very much like an ombre, which would turn into something like this, which is also an ombre. The actual packet, it says that it's only supposed to do like 100 grams or something of yarn. We actually managed to do 5 kinky coils with 1 tea bag, and so that's actually 200 grams times 5 that we managed to do, and they all turned out perfect. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use this dye, but our ombre is one that we have a tutorial for. I'm not going to show you too many things. I have a habit of doing that, don't I? But here's another sample. This is really fun. You can see what it looks like on the coil and knitted. And this is actually using our Jacquard Dyes. And then on Sunday, we actually had our Vogue Knitting Live event, and Kyle did a quick little 5-minute demo on how to use the kinky yarn. And what he did is he used 2 of our methods, one which was the one that I just showed you that uses the Fashion Spray, and then one which we also have a tutorial for, which uses Sharpie markers. Yep, Sharpie markers. So, and we promised everybody that if they would wait, we would actually put in the newsletter what it looks like when it was finished and dry. And so here you go. We actually knitted a small piece, or I shouldn't say we, Kyle did it. There's a small piece that you can see, and the pastel-y colors that you see is actually from the Sharpie marker, and the blue dots that you see was actually created from the blue side. So these are all really, really simple ways to dye your yarn. Now, if you're a professional dyist, you probably wouldn't want to do it this way, but it is fast, it is quick, and it is fun. And if you really don't want to dye at all, how about this? You can just use the kinky yarn and knit it with no dye on it at all and still have a beautiful piece. So that is our kinky yarn. That was also our spray paints. It was our wool tinctures. It was our Jacquard dyes. I mean, that was a lot of numbers right there. If you are not in the mood for dyeing yarn, how about some fabric? We actually have these great tea towels, and the tea towels can be dyed with any of these dyes here, but one of the methods is using this Shibori Kit. This is by Marabu, and it is not an authentic Shibori dyeing, because then you'd be using indigo dye, which is a little bit more difficult to use. With this, excuse me, with this you get 3 spray bottles in here of the of the fashion spray, which means that you could do a whole series of towels, or, and let me show you what the towels look like. Here is a perfect example of what the Shibori towel looks like. But you can use this as well, the different colors, and use them on the Kinky Yarn, or I don't know, if you have a pair of tennis shoes at home that you want to color. You could have a whole dye party for a weekend if you bought one of these kits and just see how far you can take it. It could be a lot of fun. That's our products for today. Now, I want to invite you for a very, very special Maker's Night, which is going to be on February 2nd. Our guest is going to be Carol Milne. She is a local artisan, if you don't know her, and she has knitted glass. That's right, knitted glass. So you might have seen her at Vogue Knitting or in New York. I think she's done one in San Francisco. You might have seen her at artisan shows. Anyways, her pieces are absolutely amazing. I actually own a few of them. I'm really proud to have them in my home. And I've actually made a few with her as well because she teaches classes. So if you're interested in this technique, you're going to want to register for our Maker's Night. There are actually some videos that we have on our website that you can look at ahead of time so that you know how the pieces are actually made and be prepared to ask any questions that you might have of Carol. She's a lovely lady, extremely talented, and does wonderful, wonderful works with glass. So that is going to be on February 2nd. Next week, I want to remind you that Hannah and I will be doing an evening of questions and answers for those of you who have purchased an addiExpress machine from us. That also is free. You just need to register online. And then, of course, we have a whole slew of classes coming up. You can find those online too. You're going to find a button down below that you can click and it'll take you straight to them. That is it for today's newsletter. There was a lot of things to dye for, so we hope you find something that you like. In the meantime, while you're choosing or whatever, you've got the whole weekend ahead of you. Do something creative, have some fun with your stash and whatever you have lying around the house, and we will see you again on Tuesday. Stay safe. Ciao.